ex-mother-in-law lied to her church to ruin me, so I exposed everything. Now she's the one banished. 6 elderly women surrounded my daughter at a farmer's market, calling her a disgrace to Christianity because she didn't want to be a big sister to her father's affair babies. What they didn't know? I had receipts, photos, texts, emails, and what I did next? It ripped their lies apart right inside their own church. If you've ever watched someone lie, manipulate, and guilt-trip their way into power, only to watch them fall under the weight of their own deception, this one's for you. Like, subscribe, and comment your favorite justice served moment below. This story, it's redemption in high definition. I never thought grief could bring out this much ugliness. But after my ex-husband died in an accident last year, the true faces of my ex-in-laws revealed themselves. And they weren't mourning. They were maneuvering. Let me rewind. I'm a 46-year-old mom of 2 incredible daughters, 17 and 15. Smart, strong, a little scarred. We were already healing from the damage their father left behind when he decided to cheat on me. And not just a one-night mistake. We're talking a full-blown affair with another woman that produced 2 baby boys. And then, fate stepped in. The other woman died. And a few months later, so did he. Suddenly, my girls weren't just dealing with betrayal. They were expected to act like big sisters to his affair kids. Like none of it ever happened. And then came his parents, my former in-laws, 78 and 80. In grief, yes, but also in full-tilt denial. They wanted to live with us, and they started petitioning for custody of my daughters. That second part? We're still battling it in court. The first part? Not a chance in hell. A few weekends ago, I took my girls to our local farmer's market. You know the type. Fresh eggs, warm bread, the kind of honey that glows in the sun. My youngest was turning 15 that week, so I gave her a budget and let her roam free. A sweet gesture. That turned into a nightmare. I was browsing heirloom tomatoes when I got the call. She was crying. "Mom, there are these women. They're saying horrible things to me. They won't let me leave." My heart went cold. I dropped everything and ran, my eldest right behind me. We found my youngest backed up against a stand of wildflower bouquets, her eyes wide with panic. Surrounding her were 6 elderly women, dressed like they'd stepped out of a Sunday school brochure, berating her. "You've abandoned your grandparents. Ungrateful child. You refuse to embrace your baby brothers, your own flesh and blood." I could feel my blood pressure spike, but I stayed focused. I slid between them and my daughter like a lioness protecting her cub. "Get to the car," I told my eldest. "Pay for your sister's stuff. Lock the doors. I'll be right there." Then I turned to the women. Now, a few of these faces I recognized. They were from my ex-in-law's church. But what shocked me was the vitriol they spat at me. "You broke your family. You're supposed to obey your in-laws, not abandon them. You're a failed Christian woman." I tried to remain composed, but the rage bubbled up. I snapped back. "Is that what Christianity is to you? Harassing a child in public?" We were eventually asked to leave the market, not the harassers, but me and my kids. Of course. These women followed us to the car like vultures stalking wounded prey. My hands shook as I unlocked the doors and sped off. That night, once my daughters were asleep and safe in their beds, I opened my laptop. Enough was enough. I messaged a friend, one of the only decent people still at that church. I told him what happened. He was horrified, but not surprised. He sent me a screenshot of something truly appalling. My ex-mother-in-law had posted a tear-soaked sob story in their church Facebook group that my daughters and I had left them homeless, refused to care for their grandsons, and had turned away from family and God. She even claimed the affair partner had been our surrogate, that I was bitter because I couldn't have more kids, and I rejected them because they were boys. The comments were full of sympathy. Of course they were. That church might be problematic with LGBTQ+ issues, but one thing they do not tolerate is infidelity. So she painted herself the victim without ever mentioning the cheating. That's when it hit me. She lied to the only community that still supported her, and they believed her. But I had what she didn't. The truth. And I wasn't just going to tell it, I was going to show it. The next morning, I drove to the local print shop. I had everything saved: photos, texts, emails. I was in the middle of divorcing my ex when he died, so legally I had no restrictions on what I could release. I paid extra to print it all in high resolution. Pictures of him kissing his affair partner in our living room. Texts where they mocked me. Emails from his parents supporting the affair. Messages where they blamed my daughters for ruining the family. The one that broke my heart the most? A message sent just 2 days after my ex died, where his parents called my girls bastards and said they caused his death by revealing his affair to me. I wasn't just angry anymore, I was focused. I went home and spent hours creating something beautiful. Binder packets made to look exactly like the little hymn booklets the church passes out during Sunday service. The front looked innocent, but open the first page. There was my ex and his mistress tangled together, kissing under the words, ex-husband's name and mistress's name, a love story. Each binder walked through their deceit, the lies, and finally, the cruelty aimed at my children. Sunday morning, I showed up early and left a stack of these binders on the welcome table, right next to the hymnals. No one checks them. But everyone reads them. The gossip mill lit up like a match in a fireworks factory. The same Facebook group that once praised my ex-mill, now a battlefield. Comments flooded in. I can't believe they lied to us. Those poor girls. I feel sick reading this. Even the pastor had to step in just to keep the thread from going full HBO. He released a statement asking for grace in the face of betrayal. People apologized to my daughters. Some even sent letters to our home saying they were ashamed to have ever judged us. And me? I became the fallen wife who might someday return to the light. But at least, according to them, I wasn't as bad as my Jezebel husband and his temptress. They didn't use those exact words, but I'll let your imagination fill in the blanks. My ex-mill? Humiliated. She made one last desperate Facebook post about how the elderly are abandoned, how no one supports grieving grandparents anymore, and how her great son would have taken care of them. Taken care of them with what exactly? I was the breadwinner. He died broke except for a life insurance policy, which, by the way, went straight to our daughters, not them. As for the boys, they're safe with distant relatives of my ex, not my in-laws. And thank God for that. Sometimes people weaponize sympathy to hide their sins, but truth has a way of shining through, even if it has to be printed on glossy paper and tucked between the pages of a church hymnal. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it sings. If you've ever wanted to throw the receipts on the table and let them speak for themselves, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories where the bad guys lose, and comment below, what's the most poetic revenge you've ever seen? And remember, sometimes the best clapback is the quietest one, with binders.